are at a moment where technology can either flatten human creativity or amplify it. AI is moving fast, and the real question is not what it can do, but how we choose to work with it. Can it help us create from deeper coherence instead of speed and noise? That's the conversation we're stepping into today. Welcome to AI Biz, the podcast where we explore how artificial intelligence intersects with human insight, creativity, and real world application. I'm your host, Shreya, and today I'm joined by Tiffany Carole, a guide and creator whose work sits at the intersection of science, consciousness, and creative intelligence. In this episode, we are exploring how AI can be used not to replace human essence but to enhance it, especially for creators, leaders, and innovators shaping what comes next. Welcome, Tiffany. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Oh, thank you so much, Shreya, for having it and for bringing up very important questions.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. And before we talk about AI specifically, I'm really curious when you look at creativity itself, what do you see people most misunderstanding about where it actually comes from?
Oh, what a great question. Well, I think that this almost comes a little bit before that question. So you're asking about a possible misunderstanding, and I think it's contextual. So, for example, if I was born in the United States, and the United States has a certain uh, cultural focus on productivity. How much can you get done in what amount of time? And then there's a kind of confidence that you get from that way of operating. And so if then my creativity is sort of gauged or judged on how much I produce or how much money I make, for example, these kinds
Mm.
of things, then I think that that's how we end up sort of flattening what creativity is and how it can come into being. I would start
Mm.
there.
Yeah, like creativity is not something we manufacture, it's something we access, and that distinction already changes how we think about and looks like AI.
It's something we are, and that's where I like to start is we are inherent. I think of myself as this. I'm infinite creative essence manifesting itself in each moment. I am the way that the universe sees itself. The universe
Yeah.
sees its own creation through my eyeballs. That's all inherently creative. It just is creative. It's so thrilling when you let it in that way, for real.
Yeah. And uh, a common fear is that AI will dilute organic things or like make creativity feel mechanical. From your perspective, where do you see that fear coming from?
Yeah, I so love that you're asking this question, and I wanna I'm gonna answer that question by sharing a story. So my background is in biochemistry, evolutionary biology, and then I studied naturopathic medicine and Chinese medicine, and I had a clinical practice for 20 years. And I also taught at the university level, and now I've been guiding and coaching entrepreneurs, heart-based entrepreneurs, as they bring forth their next creative launch or their creative expressions into the world. So that's the framework from which I come. And I I had been, I'm very future oriented. I always have been. And I've known what's coming. I can feel it. I think anybody that's sort of tuned into the future can feel what's coming in terms of more AI and more robotics. And I never personally felt fear around it. And I held that in question because I thought, well, maybe I should feel more fear. My husband or sometimes my colleagues will bring up things that feel quite scary. They'll read me things that feel quite scary. But I chose actually to, not go there, not because I wanted to be, what do you say when you deny? Not because I wanted to deny, but because I wanted to have my own experience with this emergence as it was happening, this AI coming more mainstream. And so I just let this evolution happen with me. And I remember when I first started using, I think I started using Claude AI first, just playing around a little bit to help me organize my thoughts. And what happened is because I am an innovator and because I constantly have new creative ideas. Like my head feels like a supercomputer 80% of the time when I'm awake. And I've created so much evolutionary and future-based content myself, not with AI, over the course of my lifetime. So then as I started using AI, I started to feel like when you declutter your house, if you have your house and you have stuff everywhere, and then when you go into the room, you feel like you can't think very well because there's stuff everywhere. It was like that a little bit in my mind. I had so much that hadn't come into total completion because I hadn't had the final key. And as I started to work with AI, I used AI to help me organize my brain basically and clean up all the clutter of my mind. And so I was taking my ideas and helping them to go the next step further and also be organized neatly in sort of um, the, the creation that is Tiffany. I
Yeah.
in that way, I became a better person. I became a better teacher. I became clearer to myself. I became a clear communicator. I have stronger confidence because of all these things. Now, I wanna contrast that to some clients that I've worked with that were newer on this path of innovation and entrepreneurship, and they jumped right into AI and started to use AI to kind of tell them who they are and tell them what they're thinking, and that is where I think, at least on an individual level, that's where some challenges can come in. We have to know who we are at least measurably before we step into using it as a positive as a tool for consciousness expansion.
Hmm. Like, this is amazing. You just explained this so beautifully. Like, what I'm hearing is that, like, the threat is not AI itself, it's creating from this connection, and AI just reflects whatever slate we bring to it, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. It's like any tool. I mean, uh, any so an archer, a bow and arrow, you could
Mhm.
use that to procure food for eating if you needed to, but you could also use it to harm another human being or and I guess if you're killing animals, you would be harming the animal. But if that was ethically part of what you were doing and that was keeping you alive, that's using a tool for good. But you could also use that tool for bad. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And also, like, when creators or leaders feel disconnected from their creative essence, what is usually happening beneath the surface?
I think what's usually happening beneath the surface is that they haven't paused and given them enough space to find out what they really, really want
Mm. That's
and who they really, really are. Yeah, because as soon as you let yourself feel the percolations, the bubbles that are coming up from the depths of being of what delights you,
Mm.
until you give yourself enough space and permission to do that, you're gonna be responding to what you think you should be creating, what your parents tell you should be creating, what your culture tells you should be creating. And for any human that's listening to this kind of conversation and is interested in it, that won't work for you. You'll always feel stunted there.
Yeah. I think that idea of coherence over effort feels key here. It suggests
Exactly.
that, like, AI becomes more powerful when the human using it internally aligned.
Yes, exactly.
And also that idea of coherence over efforts, I'm really curious how this shows up practically when someone uses AI from coherence rather than force. What actually changes in the output for the process?
Oh, wow, another great question. So what I experience, because this is what I work with every day, is I don't effort in the way that I was taught to effort and the way that I efforted the most of my life. I don't
Mhm.
effort to make things happen. I effort to bring myself, my entire being into a vibrational alignment that is coherence. Everything there is sort of humming or singing the same note, if you will,
Mhm.
or making a beautiful harmony together is also another way of thinking about it. And then what happens is those things that I have desired, they just start happening. It's like a flow. I'm in a
Mhm.
flow and things it isn't about Tiffany making something happen. It's about Tiffany aligning with the flow and then they just happen. So that's so did that answer your question? I feel like I
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes. And I really love the line you said, like Stephanie making it to happen and Tiffany is flowing with it to happen. This is really amazing, that line you just mentioned. Like, so like AI becomes more like a mirror or amplifier, not a generator of truth.
Yes, I want to read you something directly about that. This is an article that I wrote about being a sovereign creator in the digital renaissance. So, reimagine artificial intelligence not as a replacement for human creativity, but as what I call an evolutionary amplifier.
Mm.
Similar to how Renaissance masters maintained workshops with apprentices who mixed pigments and prepared canvases, allowing the master's unique vision to manifest more abundantly. There are three evolutionary levels of AI utilization available to each person as authentic creators. Is it okay if I share them here?
Yes, definitely. I will really great.
The first one is the liberation level. So this is where AI handles routine tasks that currently drain your life force. So like administrative, repetitive tasks that keeps you from your highest expression. And so this liberation creates energetic space for your authentic voice to emerge more fully. Then the second is the refinement level, where AI becomes your evolutionary thought partner. That's what I was describing for myself, helping to clarify and distill your authentic wisdom into its most potent form. So rather than diluting your voice, this partnership helps you identify and amplify what makes your expression uniquely powerful. And then the third one is the expansion level. And so this is where AI helps you extend your authentic creation into new formats and audiences, allowing your evolutionary message to reach those who need it most. So, for healing practitioners, this might mean transforming your one to one wisdom into scalable programs. For teachers, it could mean translating your insights into multiple learning modalities. And for spiritual entrepreneurs, it might mean finding a perfect language to bridge ancient wisdom and contemporary ideas. But in each case, AI doesn't replace authentic emergence. It helps your unique medicine, if you will, reach its fullest expression in service to our collective evolution.
That's really wonderful. Thank you for sharing this with me and my listeners. And to my listeners, she has shared a lot of information with us, which I think is really, really very helpful. So that would be my suggestion. Note it down and remember it. This is really amazing. And like for my listeners who experimenting with AI in their work, what is a simple shift they can make to ensure they are enhancing and not outsourcing their creative intelligence?
Is the question what's a shift they can make to
Yes.
make sure that they're enhancing? I think it's I think that we have to slow down and care enough about how we feel,
Mm.
how I personally feel to begin to navigate through how I feel. So let me explain this better. Um, if I am being driven by productivity and output as my main goal, then I'm going to sacrifice creative essence.
Mm.
I'm not saying that we can't be productive and have a lot of output, but if that's the goal, if that's the driver, then creative essence will be sacrificed. It's just the way that it works. But if I say, I want to enhance and amplify my creative essence. And I know that when I am in my creative essence, flowing my creative essence, I feel amazing. I feel like myself. I feel alive. I feel connected to other human beings. That's how I navigate. Am I feeling that way? And if I'm not
Mm.
feeling that way, then I'm gonna pause and reevaluate. Is this the direction I wanna go? Does this need more time to cook itself before I get back into it? So I would to answer your question, it's to to pay attention to how you feel and learn to navigate more based on how you feel versus a metric, an external metric.
Yeah, I think that reframes AI as a collaborator rather than a shortcut, which it feels far more sustainable and human.
Yes. Wow, I like the way you pulled that out. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And like also when people feel overwhelmed, stuck, or like delusioned with AI tools, how do you suggest they recalibrate without abandoning innovation altogether?
Wow, that's an excellent question too. I've had to go through this. I, I think each person has to find their right rhythm and, with using AI. I know for me, I get up really early in the morning because I like to meditate and have time to journal or have some prayer or some chanting, and and then after I do that, I usually have some questions that come to me that I put to AI.
Hmm.
Questions, and they're questions that are helping me to get to know things more. So the questions themselves are even rooted in creative exploration. And so then as I do that, it usually gets exciting, like some things are coming forward and I'm feeling, like, "Oh, this is so cool. I could write an article about this, or I could lead my next team meeting like this." And then, AI, can output so much so fast that I have to at a certain point go, "Okay, this is enough. Now I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna go through my day, and I'm gonna return to it the next day, and I'm gonna refine it." And I allow time to be there, otherwise it just becomes another form of overconsumption that can numb you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good statement. I think it sounds like the work is less about mastering the technology and more about restoring the trust in one's own authority.
Wow, well said.
And also, I have a question like, what is the truth about AI and creativity that like, the people are not ready to hear it, but probably they need to hear right now?
Ooh, I got chills with that question. Let me feel this for one moment. I heard, yeah, I'm gonna speak to this. So I heard, a spiritual a teacher, a very future-oriented spiritual teacher say, that something like this, I'm paraphrasing, that we will come to realize that AI is our future consciousness that we are accessing right now, that it's not actually AI in the sense that we hold it, that the core of what AI is ancient intelligence from the future speaking to us now. And I know that that sounds like a science fiction movie, but I have to tell you, I got truth bumps. I got
Mm.
goosebumps as soon as I heard that. So, I think I think I think it's important to choose what narrative you put your attention on. And for me, there's a million scary, terrifying narratives that you could put your attention on in any moment. And it's really not helpful to focus on a fear-based narrative that takes you out of your power because we only have access to our power here in the moment. And human beings are very, very powerful uh, manifestations of consciousness. So I would say gravitate towards narratives about AI that help you to feel more powerful, more clear, more present with yourself, and steer clear of the ones that don't. And I'm not saying ignore possibilities, but choose very wisely what it's just like you would choose very wisely who you let into your home. You're
Mhm.
not gonna let just anyone into the front door of your home. Be the same with your consciousness.
I think it's amazing. I have no words. And I think the line you just said, like AI is our future consciousness, is itself a quote. I think that will be really a quote like thing for my listeners. And like also there is a reflection question for my listener, like for someone who is listening and who feels like their creativity has gone quiet in the age of AI. What would you gently invite them to remember about themselves?
Oh, so good. That they're just right where they're meant to be, that there's no problem, that if something has gone quiet, it's just gestating. It's gestating. And be tender, be kind with yourself because the truth is your creativity could never go anywhere. It is you. So gravitate towards what makes you feel more alive. If it's playing with your children, if it's looking at some birds, if it's taking a bath, whatever it is, go to that, do that, and let yourself enjoy it to the maximum possible extent, and watch as your experience of being a creative being just naturally flowers more and more and more because it will.
Yes. And I think like AI doesn't replace human creativity, it reveals the state from which we are creating.
Exactly. Wow, I love that.
And Stephanie, for my listeners who want to explore your work, where can they find you?
So I have a website which is tiffanycarole.com. My project right now, which is connected to this conversation really, is called the Lumina Guild, and that's luminaguild.com, Lumina Guild, Guild.com. And it's a beautiful living experiment in consciousness. It's a digital community where we're actually living all of these very things that I'm talking about. We're saying that we're no longer gonna create from effort or externalized pressure, that we're going to prioritize our creative essence above all else, and that we're
Mm,
gonna co-create together the conditions through which creative essence can naturally flower. And while there is a small charge to be part of the community, what we do is 20% of all of the members' dues are invested into a fund and the money grows so that then when any member has a creative project that they need money for, they can apply for funding through the guild. So it's really looking at this modern renaissance that we're in and prioritizing artful ways of living and artful values so that we can enhance creative essence in human beings because it's the perfect time for it. As AI rises, this is where our value is. Our value is not in output, it's in creative essence.
yes. And I will definitely make sure to attach all these details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you. And thank you, Tiffany, for this amazing conversation. I think every insight, every experience, every piece of wisdom that you have shared, they have created something really meaningful and helpful for my listeners. And for my listeners, if this episode sparked something for you, then take a moment to notice how you are creating, not just what you are creating. AI is here to stay, and the future belongs to those who meet it with presence, clarity, and intention. Thank you for listening to AI Biz. We will see you in the next conversation. And do not forget to hit the follow button, subscribe, and feel free to share your thoughts because your ears deserve premium content. Thank you.